But I think it's really important to note this is a fishing expedition in already fished waters. There was already a probe into this when Donald Trump was first president that was run by Bill Barr. He assigned a special counsel, John Durham, to actually look at all this stuff. And they tried really hard to make a case, particularly against Hillary Clinton, to say that she had contrived the Russia probe. And it did not work. They did not obtain any actual convictions.
There's new internal turmoil at the Justice Department today, with details from MSNBC's exclusive reporting. The U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, a Trump appointee, called a rare division-wide meeting yesterday after the resignation of 2 prosecutors. A source familiar with internal concerns among career prosecutors tells MSNBC those prosecutors are afraid of being asked to work on a case that President Trump says should lead to the arrests of some of his most high-profile adversaries, among them former President Barack Obama and former CIA Director John Brennan. Joining me from the White House with his exclusive reporting is MSNBC's Vaughn Hilliard. Barbara McQuaid is here, an MSNBC legal analyst and former U.S. attorney. Independent journalist Philip Bump joins me here on set. Vaughn, walk us through your exclusive reporting.
Yeah, along with our colleague here at the White House, Laura Barone Lopez, we have from sources that down in the Southern District of Florida, Jason Redding Quinones, he is the U.S. attorney who was picked by Donald Trump to lead that office in Miami this past August, that he is effectively overseeing what is amounting to a sprawling investigation, a conspiracy investigation. And this is important. Folks are going to continue to hear about this in the months ahead. It is the idea that the Biden administration, the Obama administration's individuals who were law enforcement and intelligence community officials were seeking to undermine the candidacies and presidencies of Donald Trump over effectively the last 8 years. And what is underway is at least 30 subpoenas were sent out on Friday by this office. But just before the number 3 in the office signed off on those subpoenas, 2 junior assistant U.S. attorneys had resigned. I am told that at least one of them was asked to do something that was outside of their realm of comfortability and what they believed would violate their ethical responsibilities. Now, it's worth noting that the number 3 in the office, the executive assistant U.S. attorney, was the one who signed off on those subpoenas. Usually you don't see somebody in a leadership capacity, sort of like how Lindsay Halligan in the Northern District of Virginia signed off on the indictments of Tish James. It's uncommon to see somebody that is not a line prosecutor who is ultimately overseeing such an investigation. I'm told that other prosecutors in the office are on, quote, pins and needles because they fear that they are going to be asked to take part in this investigation that the president has been very explicit that he has said should lead to the arrest of President Obama, James Clapper, John Brennan, even people like Hillary Clinton. It is a vast investigation here, in one in which down in the Southern District of Florida is causing concerns over prosecutors being asked to do the job that they do not feel comfortable is based in substance and based in one in which they should be actually asked to go and move forward with such not only subpoenas but potentially indictments.
Vaughn, thank you for your reporting. So, Barbara, the executive assistant U.S. attorney, Manolo Rebozo, signed at least some of these 30-plus subpoenas. Is that standard protocol?
It's not. As Vaughn said, typically you would expect the line prosecutors who are handling the case to be the people who would sign subpoenas. It sounds, though, like this is some sort of special project that they're putting together, some sort of special unit. Executive U.S. attorneys sometimes have in their portfolio special projects. So it sounds to me like this executive U.S. attorney is going to be leading whatever this effort is into this conspiracy investigation. But I do think it's noteworthy that this is not being handled the way a routine case would be handled for a violation of the law. Instead, it is being handled as a special case with a high-level executive member of the team handling this. The other thing that I thought was noteworthy about the reporting is that the grand jury to be impaneled is going to be in Fort Pierce, Florida. That, of course, is the district, the portion of the district, the Southern District of Florida, that has one and only one judge, and that judge is Aileen Cannon. I don't know that we should be suspicious of everything Judge Aileen Cannon does, but we do know that her track record in the Mar-a-Lago case with the documents was first to imposed some really extraordinary hoops for the prosecutors to go through at the time of the search. And then, of course, the dismissal of the case, finding the special counsel regulations to be unconstitutional, contrary to every other court that's looked at it. So I think there is reason to be very concerned about the irregularities that are occurring in this office.
Well, Philip, the source who is familiar with the subpoenas calls them performative, but even if they are, is that the point? There have been those suggestions before that it's really about creating a public impression and reinforcing a narrative more than necessarily building a strong legal case.
Yeah, I mean, normally we want to be careful and say, well, we can't say for certain. I think all of the evidence here points to this being them on a fishing expedition, right? That they are trying to figure out a way in which they can impugn these people. But I think it's really important to note this is a fishing expedition in already fished waters. There was already a probe into this when Donald Trump was first president that was run by Bill Barr. He assigned a special counsel, John Durham, to actually look at all this stuff. And they tried really hard to make a case, particularly against Hillary Clinton, to say that she had contrived the Russia probe. And it did not work. They did not obtain any actual convictions in that case. They did obtain an indictment. But there's no evidence that there's anything here. And the fact that they have taken this case and moved it to Florida and moved it under the jurisdiction of Cannon and had these prosecutors who weren't comfortable doing it, so they had the superseding person sign these documents, all of these things suggest that what they're doing is they're retrying to get these people in trouble for these things. That this has been an obsession of Donald Trump since before he was president the first time. He was calling this a witch hunt before he even became president in 2017. This is clearly a bug that's been under his skin for a long time, and this is the way in which they're trying to address it.
I mean, Barbara, if you have people who are career prosecutors who are suggesting that they have to resign because they're being asked to do something that they are not comfortable doing, what is the big picture impact within DOJ?
I think that's deeply concerning. You know, prosecutors at the Department of Justice are trained, they're hired, and they're instilled with the idea that their job is to do justice, not to engage in partisan politics, and to seek indictments or even grand jury subpoenas only when they believe there is actual factual predication of a crime having been committed. The fact that we've got two people resigning, of course, we don't know all the details, but it does seem to indicate they're being asked to do something contrary to that pledge that all prosecutors make when they join a U.S. attorney's office. And so I think the reason we're hearing that other prosecutors there are on pins and needles is that they're worried that they might be next and asked to do something. People love these jobs. These are highly sought after jobs. They work their whole career to get these jobs, and they serve and are proud to walk into court every day and say their name on behalf of the United States of America. It is a terrible tragedy to lose one of these jobs, but that's what it takes if you are asked to do something that is illegal or unethical. And so I think that what we could see is a purge of all of the people who are good and of great integrity, who will leave rather than do what they're being asked to do. And then the problem, of course, is who replaces them? People who are willing to do these tasks.
Well, it also brings up, Philip, the very real question for the American public and their own security and the idea of justice, putting people away who deserve to be put away. And if you have people who don't have the experience, people who maybe don't even have the credentials, have never even worked, for example, in criminal law before, and those people are focused largely on things that may have to do with retribution, where does that leave us?
I mean, the scale of the damage that's been done to trust in the Justice Department and federal law enforcement over the course of the past 10 years is hard to measure, right? I don't know that any of us ever expected. I mean, certainly when Donald Trump was reelected last year, he ran on this platform of retribution, and he said he was going to go after his enemies. And, eventually there would be some hemming and hawing, like, well, he's not, his allies would say he wasn't really going to do it. But this is what he's doing. And, the people who he's appointed to run the Justice Department and the FBI, the fact that they are taking these actions now, the damage that's being done is so robust. And to Ms. McQuaid's point, like it's internal as well. The fact that they are reshaping these organizations so that moving forward, that damage will linger. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know how bad the damage is going to be, but it's significant.
At the end of the day, this isn't just another DOJ headline. It's a full-blown credibility crisis. Prosecutors are resigning, leadership is scrambling, and the entire system looks like it's bracing for something explosive. And this is only the opening act. If you want the truth without the spin, stay locked in. Hit like, subscribe, and buckle up. Because the next wave of this story is about to get even louder.